Hello, we're starting again with Becoming Naomi Leon, and we are starting to finish up chapter 20. So you have no intention of taking both of the children away from Mrs. Outlaw, said the judge. Oh, no, Your Honor. Mrs. Jones, did you relay this information to the mediator during the interview? Well, no. I figured that was my own personal choice. See, Owen's better off in Lemon Tree, and Naomi's better off with me. We should be together, said Skyla, smiling, and obviously satisfied with her answer. I looked at Owen, who was on the other side of Graham. Graham had her arm around him, and he did not look sad or anything. If he found Skyla's words upsetting, there was enough tape plastered across his shirt to hold him together. Well then, said the judge, I don't need to take additional time to consider this case. I am ready to rule. I rarely withhold parental rights, and the mediator did recommend that the children live with their mother. But I believe she did not understand the issue in its entirety, especially since Miss Jones was not forthcoming. I am extremely hesitant to separate siblings who have lived together their entire lives. This is something I will not do, especially when there are loving, attentive, and responsible relatives to act as their caregivers, such as Mrs. Outlaw and the father, who both clearly want these children. Since Mrs. Jones has established her preference to this court, which is clearly not in the best interest of Naomi and Owen, I grant guardianship to Mrs. Outlaw. Ms. Jones, we can set up a supervised visitation schedule for you, if you like, to visit both of your children. The judge pounded the gavel. This hearing is over. Skyla looked confused. Clive grabbed her hand, and they hurried out of the courtroom. He never looked back, but Skyla did. She raised her free hand and gave us a weak smile and a little wave of her fingers before Clive pulled her out the door. Let's go, said Graham, wrapping an arm around each of us. She drove us toward home. We were almost to Avocado Acres when Graham turned right instead of left at the corner. Chapter 21, A Brood of Chicks. On Wednesday, the first day back to school after the break, Blanca was waiting on the steps for me. Wow, I missed you, she said, hugging me tight. I heard you went to Mexico. Tell me all about it. I'm full Mexican, and I've never even been there, except for Tijuana. And that doesn't really count, since it's practically in San Diego. Hey, your bangs are longer. You've only got 2 clips on each side. Big news. There's someone new at lunch in the library. His name is Maida Bacchiano. We laughed. Maida Bacchiano was a shoo-in for my unusual names list. I told Blanca as much as I could about everything on our way to class. Ms. Morimoto gave me a hug, too. Naomi, finally! You're back! I was worried you wouldn't make it to the play this weekend. I'm so happy you'll be joining us. At lunch, Mr. Marble said, Naomi Outlaw, I'm ecstatic to see you. I added ecstatic to my splendid words list. Now we have our little nest of library chicks all back in their usual places, he said, counting and pointing at John Lee, Mimi Messmaker, Maida Bacchiano, Blanca, and me. All is right with the world. After lunch, while Blanca visited with Maida Bacchiano and talked his ear off, I got up the courage to show Mr. Marble some of my carvings. I pulled the figures, wrapped in paper towel, out of my backpack and arranged the families of reptiles, birds, tigers, and lions on the checkout counter. I lined up the ducklings and the fish and the elephants, and I told him how I had carved in La Noche de los Rabanos. He said, Naomi Outlaw, you are a girl of great talent and many layers. Who knew? Thank you for sharing these with me. I am overwhelmed with delight. Would you allow me to feature these in the glass case for open house in a few months? I always save the spectacular collections for that event. Would I allow him to be in the glass case for open house for the entire school and their families to see? It was the highest honor at Buena Vista Elementary. It could be my claim to fame. The library lunch bunch crowded around. Wow, Naomi the Lion, said Blanca. Those are amazing. You carved those? Said Mimi Messmaker. That looks hard. I guess that was the best I would get from Mimi, but I didn't care. Mr. Marble considered me in a thoughtful way. I can already tell you are a different girl since you went to Mexico. Before you were a mouse, but now you have the countenance of a lioness. I loved Mr. Marble. After school, Blanca waited on the steps with Owen and me, like always. When Graham pulled up in the Toyota, Blanca said, Bye, Naomi the Lion. I'll see you in the morning, right here. She pointed to the steps. Bye, I called to her and waved. She looked at me funny. You know something, Naomi? Your voice is louder. A murmuration of tomorrows. On the outside of things, nothing much had changed. Graham still made some of our clothes, and we still lived in Baby Beluga at Avocado Acres and Lemon Tree. We went to spray and play to make sundaes and watch the cars go through the wash. My hair was still unruly, but it finally grew out to where I only needed one clip on each side to keep it back. Some days I wore it half up and half down, just like Graciela. On the inside, though, I was different. I had experienced Barrio Jalatlaco, Los Posadas, and Quesillo. I had walked on cobblestone streets and thrown pottery at a church, just for the sake of good luck. Me! I had discovered my mother. I supposed Owen and I would always long for her a little and wonder what it would have been like if she had been different. Graham said Skyla could clean up her act and try and take us back to court someday, but that we shouldn't count those chickens before they hatched. Graham said it wasn't likely that Skyla would make the effort to visit us either, but if she did, I wouldn't mind. I would like to feel her hands on my head, French braiding my hair again. It was funny how she was nice in a mean way, and mean in a nice way. There it was again, the good and bad all rolled into a meatball. I had also found my father, who had loved me for a long time without being nearby. How many others were walking around and not even knowing that someone far away cared for them? Imagine all that love floating in the air, waiting to land on someone's life. Although we had discovered our parents, our lives with Graham were carved into our beings. We were her prizes, and that was good enough for us. Santiago had taught me that you must carve what your imagination dictates, so that what is inside can become what is meant to be. In the end, the figure will reveal itself for what it really is. It was true. In Mexico, I had seen carvings of wooden angels with horns, a parrot with a fish. Sorry about that. I'll start that part over again. It was true. In Mexico, I had seen carvings of wooden angels with horns, a parrot with a fishtail, a lizard with wings, a three-legged dog. It worked the same with people, too. A mother with a cat's claws. A father with a lion's heart. A great-grandmother with a bird's protective outstretched wings. A mouse with a lioness's voice. I might have begun with a whisper, but it had been strong enough to make a self-prophecy come true. I found a foot-stomping holler that would be loud enough to say boo to those boys someday. I could now overcome any army of worries. I even made a promise to our father, which I intended to keep, that no matter where we lived, we'd all travel to Oaxaca every year at Christmas time for the night of the radishes. After all, a Leon had been carving in the competition for over 100 years. I hope my father was right, that like the figures we carved from wood and soap, I was becoming who I was meant to be, the Naomi Soledad Leon outlaw of my wildest dreams. I hope you enjoyed this story of Becoming Naomi Leon. I thoroughly enjoyed reading it as well. Thank you.